I've been hoping to talk with you, to personally thank you for your kindness. I am glad that we have this time together. My allies and I are grateful to you for allowing us to rest outside your home. Not every human is so welcoming to life forms from a distant world. We feel fortunate to meet you. You are a generous person and a good friend. I just realized that I have not yet properly introduced myself. My name is Optimus Prime. My allies and I are unlike other sentient beings on Earth. Sometimes we may look like large man-made robots, and other times we may resemble automotive vehicles. But in fact, we are neither. We are Autobots, autonomous robotic beings, living robots, from a planet far across the galaxy. Our bodies consist of many metal parts, gears, hydraulics, circuits, and other mechanical and electrical systems. Because of our ability to alter the configurations of our metal bodies and change from our robot modes to disguise ourselves as vehicles, some people refer to us as Transformers robots. For several days and nights, my fellow Autobots and I have traveled over many miles of roads and highways, passing through vast deserts, large forests, small towns, and sprawling cities. Because we did not want to attract attention to ourselves, we traveled in our disguised vehicle forms. To human drivers, we appeared as ordinary trucks and cars. All of our activity, changing our appearances, traveling for long distances, and taking very few breaks along the way, has made us tired and in need of rest. I understand that you had a very long day, or that it felt very long to you, and that you must be tired too. But I also realize you are curious about me and my friends, and about how we arrived on your world, and why we're here. Please feel free to relax and close your eyes while I do my best to tell you our story. I will keep my voice low so I do not wake the Autobots who are asleep already. We come from the planet Cybertron. Unlike Earth, which has natural terrain and vast oceans, Cybertron is a technological world covered by towering cities. Even the mountains and canyons are made of metal. Our history dates back billions of years and begins with the Allspark, a mysterious ancient object with life-giving energies. No one knows the exact age of the Allspark or where it came from, but many believe that the Allspark is older than the universe itself. According to Cybertronian elders and historians, it was Primus, the ancient life god of creation, who used the power of the Allspark to create the planet Cybertron. Eventually, Primus drew from his own spark, his own life force, to create living robots. These robots, also known as bots, evolved and formed societies. Inside every bot every Cybertronian, there is a spark of life, a piece of the Allspark itself. Cybertron is also the primary source of energon, the blue glowing energy that is the lifeblood of all bots. Over time, we discovered energon could be found on other planets as well. Charged by remnants of Primus, energon powers our equipment, our vehicles, ourselves. All bots need energon to stay alive. For millions of years, there was peace on Cybertron. All bots worked together and took care of each other. We harvested and shared energon and took pride in our bright, gleaming cities. Although Cybertron looked very different from Earth, I suppose it was in many ways similar. We had museums, parks for recreation, transit systems, arenas for sports, theaters for the arts, factories, scientific laboratories, hospitals, schools. Our cities might have looked unusual to you, but to the Autobots, it was our home. The peace on Cybertron lasted until a Cybertronian named Megatron began to crave the power of the Allspark, the power for himself. Megatron founded his own army, the Decepticons. Their goal was to obtain the Allspark and use its power to rule all of Cybertron. My Autobot allies and I oppose the Decepticons. We believe freedom is the right of all sentient beings. But after many, many centuries of conflict on Cybertron, most of our precious fuel, our energon, was gone. And I realized all life on Cybertron was in trouble. In an effort to prevent Megatron from taking control of the Allspark, I used a space bridge, a transportation system for traveling to distant worlds, to send the Allspark far across space, far away from Cybertron. I did not know where the journey of the Allspark would end. I could only hope the Decepticons would never find it. Incredibly, the Allspark arrived on your planet, Earth. It did not arrive recently, but thousands of years ago. Eventually, the Decepticons tracked the Allspark to Earth, but my allies and I came here too. We stopped Megatron from using the Allspark. Now, our mission is to protect humanity from the Decepticons and to ensure the Allspark never falls into enemy hands. Because to the Autobots, your planet, Earth, is our new home. Autobots are not the only sentient beings on Earth who sometimes change their appearance to prevent others from seeing them. Forest rangers, hunters, security guards, soldiers all use special fabrics and paints to disguise their uniforms and vehicles, allowing them to blend in with their surroundings. Such disguises can make humans almost invisible in almost any environment. We've found many life forms, mammals, birds, reptiles, fish, and insects are capable of concealing themselves. They can use their own natural coloring to make themselves hard to find. For Autobots, the ability to change our shapes and to camouflage ourselves also comes naturally. I shall do my best to explain the process of how we change. Inside every bot, there is a conversion cog. This cog enables us to convert between our human-like robot mode and our alternative mode, also called our alt mode, which is usually the form of a vehicle. We also have sensors that analyze our environments and trans-scanning systems that enable us to scan vehicles and nearby life forms. Our combined technologies enable us to change our appearances to help us blend in with things around us and to adapt quickly to new and diverse environments. However, because each bot is born with a certain amount of mass, a certain size and weight that will never change, a bot must be careful when trans-scanning to select an alt mode. For example, a small bot may not have enough mass to change into a large car or a large aircraft. As well, a large heavy bot would not be capable of converting into a compact car or small aircraft. Bots don't always have much time to choose their alt mode, but they must always choose carefully, which is why I have assumed the form of a large 6-wheel drive semi-truck. Any smaller vehicle would pose a challenge and probably would not be a successful disguise, at least not for me. Fortunately, most humans are used to seeing large trucks, especially on highways, so my disguise seems to work well. But when my friends and I leave the highways, it is not always easy to find a nice, quiet area where all of us can park and rest. When a small car is parked on a city street, a suburban neighborhood, most people do not see a small car as anything unusual. But people see large trucks somewhat differently. If I am in an unfamiliar territory, I must be thoughtful about where I choose to rest for the night. I should tell you more about my allies, the members of my team. They are not only trusted friends, but also unique individuals with special talents and skills. Ratchet is our medical officer, also our emergency search and rescue specialist. He's equipped with medical sensors and also cutting and welding tools. In his robot mode, he stands just over 20 feet tall. In his vehicle mode, he takes on the form of a fire department rescue vehicle. Ratchet races to those in need of medical treatment and uses his tools to make emergency repairs. He has saved many lives, including mine. Windblade is a city speaker, which gives her the power to communicate with Titans ancient bots the size of small cities. She was born in a Cybertronian colony on the planet Caminus. When energon became scarce on Caminus, Windblade learned how to be very resourceful at finding and using other types of energy. Her alt mode is a bright red jet aircraft. And because she can hover, launch, and land vertically, she does not require a runway. She believes that all bots, even Decepticons, are born with a good spark. Jazz is our intelligence officer. He absorbs and analyzes data about environments, languages, culture, and he shares the information with our team so we are more prepared to help those in need. He's a quick thinker and moves very fast too. In his vehicle mode, disguised as a sports car, Jazz can go from 0 to 60 in 1.7 seconds, and he has a top speed of 400 miles per hour. Ironhide is our most experienced soldier, and his body is heavily armored. When he talks, he sounds very gruff, very tough. But then again, he is very tough. Long before Megatron formed the Decepticons, Ironhide served Cybertron's Civil Defense Force as a field commander. He protected Cybertronians from numerous threats from other worlds. Here on Earth, he has modeled his vehicle mode on a heavy-duty pickup truck, which enables him to carry fuel and supplies. Wheeljack is a scientist and engineer, and serves primarily as our team's mechanic. It seems as if he's always trying to advance Autobot technology, or invent something that will help a bot increase speed and achieve greater power. He's not at all afraid to test his experiments on himself. For his alt mode, he chose a high-performance sports car. Bumblebee is our scout, also the youngest member of our team. He is very stealthy and an excellent tracker. In both his robot and vehicle modes, he is easily distinguished by his yellow exterior. Oh, and he loves pop culture, both Earthling and Cybertronian. Like most living creatures, Autobots need moments of rest. To fully recharge our energy cells, it is sometimes necessary for us to shut down our systems for several hours. But we can only do that in places where we feel absolutely safe. Which is why my allies and I are so grateful to you for letting us park outside, for sharing this area, and allowing us to rest and recharge. We are proud to stand guard, keeping you safe throughout the night. When we're resting, one of us always remains alert and watches over the others. We take turns doing this, so every one of us has the opportunity to get the sleep that we need. Even though I'm still awake right now, Jazz is currently serving as our guard and lookout, keeping an eye on things outside. Using his special sensors, Chaz can detect signs of movement over great distances, even in total darkness. He not only scans nearby roads, buildings, and passing vehicles, but also the sky. He can identify birds, aircraft, and even satellites as they travel over this area. He also watches for meteors, which some people call shooting stars. There's a good reason why Chaz watches for meteors. I shall explain. Between the orbits of the planets Mars and Jupiter, there is an area called the asteroid belt. Asteroids are rocky objects that are much smaller than planets, composed of rocks and metals. Broken fragments of asteroids are called meteoroids. Some meteoroids are larger than boulders, others as small as grains of sand. They can drift out of the asteroid belt, and sometimes they drift towards Earth. When meteoroids enter Earth's atmosphere, they become meteors. At night, when skies are clear and without clouds, you can actually see meteors. They ignite when they hit the atmosphere and leave trails of light, burning across the sky as they fall. Now, I mentioned how we used a space bridge to help us travel between distant planets. But I forgot to tell you one important detail. When Autobots make great journeys across space, we must travel inside starships. When a starship enters Earth's atmosphere, it leaves a bright trail across the sky, just like a meteor. And because meteors are so common, scientists, astronomers, and others on Earth rarely notice when a Cybertronian ship arrives. You might say that even our method of space travel is yet another example of our effort to maintain our disguises and avoid detection. After arriving on Earth, we can use our sensors to search for other Autobots, which is why Chaz is now watching for meteors, among other things. His sensors can determine if a falling object is an ordinary meteor or a starship carrying bots. Perhaps more of our allies, who have traveled all the way from Cybertron, or one of our colony planets. Thinking of meteors reminds me of the time I was leading the Autobots on a mission that brought us across the state of Idaho. We were driving south on Highway 33, which runs through a wide valley between the Teton Mountains. The valley floor is very flat, and I could see for miles in every direction. Even though night had fallen, the moon was high in the sky, and it illuminated the ground and other objects below. Looking ahead, I saw something at the side of the highway. Something unusual. Well, unusual in my experience, because I had never seen anything quite like it before. It was a tall structure, an enormous, dark, rectangular shape that stood high against the night sky, blocking my view of stars that were low on the horizon. As I drove closer to the location, I saw that the structure appeared to be made of wood and metal girders. The structure rested beside the highway like a gigantic but very dark billboard, and it was tilted slightly. Its upper area leaned toward a field that lay just beyond the structure. In other words, the way the structure was positioned, it separated the field from the highway. I was still traveling south on the highway, getting even closer to the structure and the field, when I noticed something in the distance. It was a small building. A bright beam of light projected from one of the building's windows, and the light appeared to be directed at the surface of the tall structure, the surface that faced away from the highway. The beam made the rectangular shape look like it was glowing, radiating light from its edges. And then I noticed a few dozen vehicles parked in the field, mostly cars, but also pickup trucks, vans, even a few motorcycles. I thought it was strange that none of the vehicles had their headlights on. I could also see small figures, people, in and around the cars. Some were inside their vehicles or in the backs of the trucks. Others were beside their vehicles, lying on blankets or sitting on folding chairs. I wondered if perhaps they were experiencing problems with their vehicles. I did not know, so I decided to find out if they were in need of help. I instructed my team to pull over to the side of the highway. There was very little traffic at the time, so no one paid attention to us as we came to a stop beside a stretch of green grass at the highway's edge. From where we'd parked, I could clearly see a vehicle I hadn't seen before, parked in front of the rectangular structure. The vehicle was an old farm truck, a flatbed truck with a cab that may have once been bright red, but the paint appeared to have faded over time. No one was seated in the truck's cab, and the truck did not appear to be in working order. And then I noticed large letters painted black on the side of the truck. The letters spelled the words "Drive-In Theater." It was at that moment that my allies and I realized the purpose of the location, that we had arrived at an outdoor movie theater, a place where people watched movies from their vehicles. We guessed that an old farm truck was probably a landmark, something to help travelers find the theater, which seemed odd to us because the movie screen itself was a landmark, the way it rose so high that drivers could see it from far away. No driver could possibly miss it. Although my allies and I still had many miles to travel, we could not help but be curious about the movie. Bumblebee managed to find a nearby dirt road. The road led us around to the side of the field. The field where the audience had parked their cars. We parked on the dirt road and had a good view of the tall, wide movie screen. On the screen, we saw images of a green car following a black car down a steep street at a time of day when the sun was shining in the sky. Sidewalks and tall houses on either side of the street indicated the cars were traveling through a city neighborhood. Several seconds passed, and we saw one man inside the green car, two men inside the black car. A few seconds later, we were able to see more buildings in the background. Jazz scanned the images of the buildings and determined that the city was San Francisco. We assumed that we had missed the beginning of the movie, and we could only imagine what the story was about. But the green car and black car appeared to be constructed of strong materials. Shifting my gaze from the images of the cars and city, I turned my attention to the audience, to the people sitting in and around their vehicles in the field below the movie screen. A family with 3 children were seated in the back of a truck. The children had blankets draped across their legs and around their shoulders, even though it was not very cold outside. I think the blankets just made the children more comfortable in the truck. The children looked so cozy, and their eyelids looked so heavy, just like yours. It would not surprise me to learn that they were unable to stay awake for the whole movie. They really did look as if they were about to fall asleep, tucked in their blankets, under the stars of the night sky. Because my allies and I were on a mission at the time, we could not stay to watch the rest of the movie. As we started to leave the drive-in, I glanced back at the children in the truck, and I noticed one child looking up and pointing to the sky. I looked up too, just in time to see what had caught the child's attention. High above the movie screen, a bright meteor streaked overhead. Seeing that meteor, I wondered if anyone on Earth happened to be looking up at the sky at the moment when my starship, carrying me and my fellow Autobots, left a trail of light as we entered Earth's atmosphere. I have learned that many humans believe that a shooting star is a sign of good luck, and that they make a wish when they see one. If anyone did see my arrival, perhaps they made a wish. And if anyone made a wish, well, I hope it was a good one. Long after that night in Idaho, my thoughts have returned to the drive-in, to the old farm truck parked outside, a short distance from the towering movie screen, resting at the edge of the highway. The drive-in was a very good place for seeing movies, and also for stargazing, and for seeing meteors. It looked like a very nice place to relax for the night Someday, I would like to go back to that drive-in. Perhaps we can even make that journey together. Meanwhile, my allies and I feel very lucky that our long journey across space brought us to this world, to this very moment, so we could meet you. Now, let's get some rest. Good night, my friend.